And I also want to give her a round of applause for how hungry she just made me. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been sitting for a little bit. Can we all stand up, please? Awesome, 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 awesome. Can I tell you a quick story? Cool. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So there was this maybe. I appreciate the honesty. All right, let me rephrase. You're going to hear a quick story. I love you, Javi. So other than Javier, is anybody in here or is or was a wrestling fan? All right, cool. 3, 5. Okay, awesome. So I talked about this in the morning. This is a championship belt. What's written in the bottom portion of this is undisputed champion. If I asked you what undisputed champion in your own words was, who would be brave enough to say it here? And Zoomies, if you heard undisputed champion, what does that mean to you? Anybody want to take a stab? What does it mean to you? Okay. Great actor. We're going to talk afterwards. All right. A great actor. But in your own words, if you were an undisputed champion, what would that mean? Nobody comes close. All right. What else? Best in your field. No rival. Best of the best. God. Everyone agrees and recognizes your talent. Never lost. The very best. Awesome. I want to talk about some stuff real quick. All right. So undisputed, the word in and of itself, not disputed or doubted, universally agreed upon, unchallenged and accepted without question. That is the definition of undisputed. I want you to hear the definition of champion, and there's several. One, let's see. An ardent defender or supporter of a cause or another person. Champion, one who fights, a warrior. Verb is to fight for, defend, or support. To defy or challenge. How many people would classify themselves as a champion just based off those definitions? That's good. Yes, please make some noise. Awesome. How many people would be able to say that they undisputedly know champions? That they know champions without question? That they know and surround themselves with champions without question? And guess what? In order to do that, there's something very powerful. The reason why I asked if we have any wrestling fans in the room is because I'm dressed up as a current wrestler. I just don't look as good. I'm working on it. He has this whole thing that started his 4-year title reign, which was acknowledge me. Now, the definition of acknowledge is to admit the existence or truth of, to express recognition of, or to make notice of. To accept or certify as binding, to own or admit the knowledge of, to own with gratitude or as a benefit or obligation. So when you acknowledge champions, you are giving them the credit that they deserve, and you are noting that they are people who champion other causes, places, or things. Champions are very intentional. Champions are very powerful. Champions are very motivating, either in the positive or negative direction. But what I will tell you now is, without a doubt, the person that I want to call up, we can all acknowledge, because we have been the last 2 or 3 days. And it starts with being the one. So this shirt says OTC. I wore it this morning. Had a really good idea. I had this awesome thing. It was going to be great. Zoomies, this is going to be a great story for you, because these guys were in the room when this happened. All right. So getting ready to go. I give instructions for these guys for the 10-second countdown. Countdown. We're going to be awesome. It's going to be epic and amazing. And I had this whole thing in my head, and it was awesome. Guess what? I heard 10 and 9. I wasn't even in the room. Wasn't ready. I was trying to get set up. I open the door to come in here. Everything falls apart. My belt falls off. Not this one, the one that actually is holding my pants up. And then they're like, and everybody in the room are like, dude, we told you to do this. We listened in every direction. I'm like, you're absolutely right. It miserably failed. It didn't fail. It was just in the wrong placement. It's here so I can acknowledge the person that we're going to call up, because the person we're going to call up, we've all acknowledged. And that's going to be the man, the myth himself, Michael Fabber. But before he walks up, Can we acknowledge that he's the one person who invited us into this room? Right? Zoomies, if you got an invite from Michael Fabber, put your one up in the air. If anybody here has been impacted by an undisputed champion, please put your finger up in the air and not the middle one. Not the middle one. Do me a favor. Hold them straight up in the air, just like this for me. All right? So this is what this means. It starts with one. OTC means original. Somebody's singing it, right? Thanks, Avi. OTC means original tribal chief. But you need to have a champion in order to start a tribe. You need to have a leader in order to start a community. And the beautiful thing about being an undisputed champion is that sometimes these people will take their recognition, their influence, their talents, their desires and passions, and they'll give it to someone else because they see in them what we might not see in ourselves. And I've had conversations over the last 2 days with everyone here that have said year in and year out, the caliber of people that are being attracted to this community is getting better and better and better and better. The amount of people that are being brought together in this community is getting better and better and better. More people who are heart-centered, more people who want to help other people, more people who genuinely care about the world around them, that want to impact them in a positive way. And I could think of no other way to announce an undisputed champion of the Unleash You Now community than Mr. Michael Fabber. Give him the ones, guys.
Thank you. I'm supposed to hold this or something, right?
Yeah, hold it. Have fun.
Oh, the whole time?
Oh, no, just in the...
I was going to say, I was like,
Give it to him, guys.
I'm definitely not doing that. Definitely not doing that. Just put whatever face you want there. I'm not putting it on. I would fall down. This thing's heavier than you think. Thank you. I'm glad you. Oh, you got to take that picture too? You guys are killing me. You got it? All right. No, you got it. You want it? Yeah, there you go. There you go. You rocked it the whole time. You're like my corner man. There you go. Oh, there you go. I'm putting on other people. All right. That was a weird way of saying that. David Cheminsky has the belt. Oh, you got to sit down. You have to do that stand stuff with me. Unless you want to stand, then you can stand, but you don't have to stand for me. I'm easy. Do whatever the hell you want. I was going to walk in front of the camera. We don't care here. We're family here. All right, you good? All right, looking upset. I was like, hold up, you all right? You're a little too close to me to be upset, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you're mad, go to the third row. All right? We want some space so I can figure things out on the way. How's everybody doing? We're doing this crazy thing today. We're kind of like ahead of time a little bit. It's weird. How's Zoomies? You guys have your own name now in your own village? The Zoomies in the house? All right? Are you all right? Jeez. All right. People in here look like igloos. I'm like sweating. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Maybe either they're sick or I'm sick, but one of us is sick. Oh, that must be the one area the air hits. Also, timeout. Anyone at home, I want you to take this into. If you're in an area that's cold, move. You know what I mean? You've been blessed with legs or wheels, move your ass somewhere else. And Michael Martin Hummel, I thought of you, brother. All right. So we're going to Jesus. So we're going to get going today. I put a poll out. I had this whole like business talk because I was like, oh, people want to hear business. People talking to business. They're on the phone. That's amazing. I was like, whoa, that's impressive. I can't believe you can hear. But I wonder what they hear. But I was like, I have this great business talk. I'm gonna rock the business world. Like we're gonna do this, and I'm listening to damn Catherine O'Leary. It was like, if you don't ask your people the question, how do you know the answer, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put out. What do you want to hear me talk about, personal or business? All right, and then 7 answers before I deleted it because I was gonna pretend like I didn't do it were all personal, and I was like, damn it. All right, so I prepared a whole talk that I'm not gonna use. So we'll use that another time. Just understand the beginning of it is levels of consciousness, which is levels of understanding. Then we'll move to the next one. All right. So if you want to hear that one, come to Moonmaker Live. Good teaser, right? Open loop. All right. You're welcome. This is what I do. All right. Jeffrey Atkins with the longest thumbs on earth. All right. That was like, they just kept going up. I was like, Jack and the Beanstalk thumbs. Look at those things. God. That dude must have been real good at video games. You know what I mean? He hit like 2 buttons at one time with those things. Right, and that's inappropriate as you're telling me. Thank you. So a lot of emotion on that face when you're saying a lot to me without saying anything. All right. I want to talking about personal, right? So I want to talk about one of the things. This was literally like in the 7-minute span that happened right before I came out here. That was a game changer for my life. And if you don't know, Q, you can hit that right on that computer if you want. Well, you don't. Oh shit, Trav. He missed you. He was like, I'm definitely going to see your talk, and then he came in for this one. He's going to be utterly disappointed. For us. All right. I was gonna say he's gonna be like, you don't look like Catherine. You know what I mean? What happened to you, Cat? It's me now. That's like a nightmare for a lot of people. So my early life, I don't know how much you guys know about my early life, but I was a real pain in the ass. All right. I'm sure you guys got that much so far. You heard my mom talk. And she normally says that the first time she speaks. He's like, you all like Michael? I don't. Right. Yeah, he loves me. Like is a different word. I always tell my daughter, I always love you, but there's sometimes I don't like. You know what I mean? And if you're an honest parent, that's the truth. If you're an honest parent, that's accurate. You don't always like them. You always love them, right? But you don't always like them, right? Sometimes you're like, ooh, God, if someone hit you one time right now, I'd be like, it'd be okay, all right? I'd pick you up, but still, I'd be happy to have you, all right? I've never hit my daughter, though. That's true. So when I was young, I don't know how much you know about my life or my story or anything like that. I don't talk about it much anymore. I talk a lot about business, but I had like the average everyday life, right? Like everybody, like they come up and have these stories about like they were fighting like gangbangers in their yard, and he was fighting neighbor electric, all right? And like I'm like, well, I didn't do that, right? Like my family was like the Brady Bunch. Right, like my mom came with a couple kids, my dad came with a couple kids. They got together and had the best kid. All right, I am the only one. They call me Unkwa because I'm the chosen one. All right, actually it meant Unkwa because if I was the first, I would have been the last, as my dad always said. But I changed it, made it mean something different. That I was so good he wouldn't need any more. All right, he didn't mean it that way, but he's not here to tell you, so I'll tell you a different story. All right, so. But I had like everyday life. Like my parents were amazing parents. All right. Like my dad was brilliant. My dad was tough. I told a story at Movie Maker Live that the guys robbed the cigarette machine in our restaurant, and they had a weapon and 3 of them. My dad chased them down the road and got the quarters back from the cigarette machine and was like, no one takes our change. And walked up. And I'm standing on the porch like, all right, and the cops came and asked him questions about the 3 guys, and he was like, "Did you rob my stuff?" So yeah, I got it back. And they were like, "All right." There was we were taught to stand for ours. So my sister was talking. My sister's like 12. She's talking to this 18-year-old boy. This 18-year-old boy is like, "You bitch!" All right, to my sister. I'm there, so I'm like, "Oh hell no, bro! You don't talk like that." I'm 6, by the way. Right? I'm like, "Oh hell no, you don't talk to my sister like that." And this kid's like, "Shut up, kid!" And I'm like, all right, I used to tell the story like I was real tough, but I wasn't tough. I just got smacked in the face and I was sitting there pretty much crying. Right. Well, my sister sees this happen. She goes and gets my dad. Right. Yeah. Right. So my dad's already nuts. Right. And he's like, someone smacked my kid. He's like, yeah, it was like an 18-year-old dude. Like, oh, all right. So he goes walking out. He walks up this guy's steps all the way up the steps. And I'm at the top, like crying still. And he grabs this dude by the throat and he just hangs him off the porch. All right. And now someone called the cops. Right. And the cops come and they're like, this is not a big area. So the cops knew each other, right? Knew who the people were in the area. So the cop's like, Mr. Fabber, can you please just put him down? And he's like, oh, I intend to. All right. And the cop goes on the porch. All right. And he's like, oh. All right. And puts him down. And he hit him a couple times, supposedly, but that couldn't be proven. And I don't rat. So when they went to court, they actually got the 18-year-old in trouble. My dad didn't get in trouble. I was like, this is amazing. Court works, right? I found out it doesn't, but it did that thing, right? But this was me young. I had 3 older brothers and 2 older sisters, right? We were all spoiled, but no one was spoiled like my sisters were. But it's all right. My mom won't agree, but it's true, right? My mom's gift to my sister was a Mercedes. Right? I was like, nice. It was my mom's dream car. And then my sister said, I don't really like that much. Can you get me this ugly ass blended Firebird that looked like Alex would drive. Right. And I was like, yo, ugly. You're welcome. That was a good one. Some of you guys are like that. Like, damn. All right. Shots fired. But but we were just like every American like you would see on TV kind of family, like after school special shit. Like we were so corny. And holidays, I would like take my shoes off and go on the hardwood floor and like pretend like I was a speed skater around everybody. And I had such nice people around me that they didn't go like, yo, stop fucking doing this, kid. Right? Like you're annoying the hell out of me, which I probably was now that I know that I'm older. Right? And they didn't do it. None of them tripped me. Right? Like none of them did the things I would have do to that kid right now. Right? So I'm like, man, I had nice people around me. And I was saying that I wrote some books. You don't have to read them. I wouldn't. Everybody else is like, yo, here's a gift. I give you chapter 2. I'm like, here's a gift. Don't read chapter 2 for me. You know what I mean? Here's a gift. Don't read my shit. All right. I'll just tell you it'll be better. All right. And literally the first book starts with, hey, hey. And everybody thought I was making some like real strong stand for something. And I was like, no, it's just a mess up. Like it was bad editing, I guess. And writing, but it was bad editing. But it literally still starts with, hey, hey, because why change it now? All right. So it says, hey, hey. All right. But that's in my head how I see me saying it if I was to say that to somebody. All right. And in that horrendously written book, there's a chapter that says when my life changed forever. And a lot of you guys probably heard the story before because you know me and you've seen me talk. And it's Bobby's like, no. I'm like, I know you do. All right. It talks about so I'm a weird adult, but I was a weird kid too. I was gonna say I was a weird kid, but I was like, I'm still weird. I guess that was just me. But I used to sneak down to my house. Like we only had like one TV, and I was the youngest, so I never got to determine what was on that TV. You know what I mean? Like everybody had say before me. So luckily, like one of my brothers, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I was like, thank you. Like this is the only show you guys watch that's good. My sister loved Blossom and made me hate people and hats and all kinds of stuff because that damn show. All right. I'm sure it was great for some of y'all, but it wasn't great for me. All right. Dang, you all right? I'm sure. I mean, it's a guitar. It's not a building. It probably will move if you touch it. All right. Just so you know, not much force is needed for that, but it's all right. I thought you were about to play a song like, oh, yeah, the soundtrack to Michael Favor's life. I was like, as long as Can't Touch This is on it by MC Hammer, we're good. Right, great song. Look at you. You warmed up now. Yeah, coat's gonna come off. I'm kidding, it's not. I said coat. For any jokes are made, right? So I used to sneak down in the middle of the night and watch turn the TV on and watch infomercials. Right? Like I'm cool. All right. And that's why anyone gets on a sales call with me, they're like, bro, do you ever do infomercials? I'm like, no, I just sound like it. Right? Because I'm like, but wait, there's more 14 times. Right? But wait, there's more. And then I'm like, and this is what you'll pay today, right? Like, and it's like, and then if you can break it into these payments. And it's like, oh my God, OxyClean, calm down. Right? And rest in peace. I would sneak down and I'd watch these infomercials. Clint's like, I'm praying for you tonight, brother. And I'll take them. Right? But so I would sneak down and watch these infomercials. And I would turn the TV off and I would go back up to my room and no one would ever catch me. But this night I fell asleep in the living room. And I fell asleep with the TV on. And I woke up and there was my mom on the floor crying. She loves when I say this story. And then my sister crying, and then my dad standing over them. And in my head, I go, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. Right? Like they were all that upset because I was laying on the couch watching TV. I was a real dumbass. I told you I failed third grade. Like, don't expect much from me. You know what I mean? Let's set the bar low. I'll step over it. You set it high. We got to talk. All right. I don't know if you could tell. I'm not a big jumper. Right? I don't got his legs. All right. Which, by the way, thanks for sitting in that seat today. Really, really blocked that whole camera. Appreciate that. All right. We turned that camera on once. I was like, yeah, don't use that one today. So all I got is Clint's thigh again. It's like a traumatic experience for me over and over on this camera. Blocking this thing with his thighs. Right? They're nice though. Just saying. Right? But not better than your eyes. No, like first time I met this dude, I'm so surprised he's here. First time I ever met this dude, I was like, yo, was your what is it, Tinder? What was your Tinder profile? Big thighs and nice eyes? He's like, well, if I was to make one, that would be it. And I was like, you're welcome. It's just what I do. And then he didn't speak to me for 24 hours. And then we were leaning up against the door and he was like, hey man, can I ask you a question about this? And I was like, sure. And then we started talking again. And now look at us, thick as thieves, right? But now I can talk about his thighs and he smiles, right? He blocks the camera. I didn't even get mad. Nothing. I didn't even say nothing until now, right? But tomorrow, don't sit in that seat, right? So I wake up, right? So I wake up. No, thy master path there. Yeah, you have so many names, man. I'm jealous. All right. But tomorrow, second row. All right. So I had this idea where I was like, I could either wake up and go towards my nightmare or stay asleep in my dreams. And I decided to walk towards my nightmare. All right. And I went and I was like, I came up to my mom, my dad, my sister, and I'm like, I am so sorry. Right. Like I didn't do anything that bad. I just snuck down to watch TV. I didn't even eat Oreos. Right. Because I used to spill all the time. Like we literally, that's how sad of life I was. You know, want to talk about parents that really like brought you through some trenches, right? We had a calendar that my mom would write, circle the day and write, let's go, congratulations on if I didn't spill. And I wasn't 4, you know what I mean? Like I was like grownish, right? Like I remember it and know it, right? Like he would be like, and they would have a party for me and I like have a cupcake or a piece of cake. They're like, way to go, Michael, you didn't spill today. And I'm like, and it was trying to make me not spill. Right? Like that was how pathetic I was. Right. And so I'm like, I'm so sorry. Right. Like I didn't spill. I didn't even have Oreos. Like I didn't sneak anything. Like there's nothing to clean up. And my dad's like, that's not it. And I was like, what is it? And he said, your brother's gone. And I was like, what? And he's like, your brother's gone. And I was like, where'd he go? He's like, the kind of gone that doesn't come back. And it was the family I knew was over forever. All right, we didn't come back from that. I'm not saying you can't. We didn't. Our family was never the same. And it changes things, right? Because as you see, my mom's upset, right? I have a great job. I have a great way of making my mom upset, guys, right? And my mom's upset, so we're not going to talk to her about it because she's upset. All right, my dad was upset. He put a lot of blame on himself. So we're not going to talk to him about it. So what we did was we ended up holding it, right? A weight we bear, right? We carry it. My brother's one of the 22 that served the country that took his own life in a day. All right, that's my brother. He became a statistic that day. Well, it's crazy that I started saying that story recently about the night before he died. We were having a kicking contest underneath the table, all right? And it was the first time I ever won. And to win, it's either like you make the other person cry, which I did not make him cry. You get them to scream, which I didn't make them scream either, or you get the last kick. That one I got, right? And it's because I was risque. You know what I mean? My dad was already yelling at us about it. And I was like, no one's watching me right now, even though they all were. I'm done, remember? So I'm like, I'm going to kick the shit out of him right now. Right? So in the middle of him yelling at us about knocking off, I literally turned my whole body towards my brother and like, all right? And my dad's like, who did it? Right? And he's trying to teach me ownership. All right? But my brother was being a good big brother. And he said, I did, sir. All right. And now my dad knows that it was me because everyone knows it was me other than I. I think everyone doesn't know it's me. All right. And he's like, all right, don't do it again to my brother because he knows he was taking the fall for me. He was being a good big brother. I never got to say thank you. All right. Like, thank you for taking that for me because my dad would have got me. All right. And it was gone. It was over. Everything I knew of life changed. And I took this weight and I held it. Never talked to nobody about it, never opened up about it, never shared it. It was just something that I had to bear. And that's what I thought life was. So everyone knows in high school, most people know in high school, I dared a buddy of mine to steal a car to get to this party. He stole the car and then he got in an accident and passed away in that night. And then I had guilt and grief, right? And shame. Remember when you were talking about shame? Right? When you said that, I was like, damn, that was a friend of mine for years. That's why I hate every time Lee's like, saboteur. I'm like, shut up. All right? Don't talk to me about saboteur, sir. I know all too well about it. I've been really good at that in my life. All right? And he's like, I know. Like, thanks, shut up. All right? This is why I love Lee. Look at him. Doesn't say a word. Love that. Favorite time with Lee. Quiet. No. He's like, I'm saving this for later, buddy. And I always love when I jump on with Lee. So he's like, all right, it's Lee's call. And he's like, tell me what's going on, buddy. I'm like, it's your call, dude. Don't ask me what's going on. Because I'll tell you, all right? Wait, let's be talking to me. But another weight to bear. We go to the funeral and his mom's like, dude, he loved you. You were like one of his best friends. He said that you used to. My mom's like, wow, you're a great person for him. He's like, he used to skip school with you and sleep in your car when you skip so he wouldn't get caught. I'm like, stop saying this stuff in front of my mom. You know what I mean? Yeah, because now you're getting me caught. You know what I mean? But it was those kind of, it was everything that happened in life. How many of us know about holding weight? Some of this weight's yours, some of the weight's not yours. But we all held weight. Right? And I was really good at that. I held weight. I always thought that was like a badge of honor. Put that on my shoulders. Let's go. All right? Like put it on my shoulders. I got it. All right? I'll hold it. It was like, you know, that Atlas picture? Or statue or whatever Atlas you've noticed, right? Or Google Atlas if you haven't. Right? Like, I mean, there's all options these days. 2024. All right? It's like this, and there's a ball there. All right? Come here. No, I'm kidding. I was gonna be hey, jump on my shoulders. Ball up and jump on my shoulders. I got you. All right. I would die that moment, just so you know. All right. I would face plant the ground. And I don't got that many teeth left, but I bet they'd be gone. All right. I bet I have less. And then in like this is always like a weird thing for me on Unleash You Now. It's I would say it's my love project. We always say there's for-profit business and non-profit business, and there's for-purpose businesses. All right. And that for-purpose is what this was. But all the time, Unleash You Now reminds me of a time where I wasn't. All right. It reminds me of someone that I don't ever want to be. All right. Because in 2011, I was really good at deflecting, not really acknowledging things, right? And just going. We talk about grind, hustle, right? Like I was really big about, oh, that happened, we just got to keep going. That happened, we just got to keep going. That happened, we just got to keep going. Sometimes I still find myself in that mode of like, something happens, bet we got to keep going. All right. And what's up, dude? I thought you just left. I was like, hey, Justin really doesn't like me. He has a nice shirt on though. It's like 7th time I told him today, it's a nice shirt. He'll never wear that shirt in front of me again. That's the mental note he got. Don't ever let Michael see me in this shirt. 6th time I weirded him out. I don't know, 7th time I'll tell me about later. The creep, right? But I was good at business. I would say this. I wasn't good at business. I was lucky. All right. I was lucky at times. Luck happened. All right. And yeah, when you play with skill, good luck it happened. American poet, Sean Carter. You might know him as Jay-Z. Right. But it all matters how you say it. He said that line, but so I can't take it. But we were doing good. We had houses, cars, all the good stuff, like all the stuff that makes other people think you're somebody. All right, that was me forever. Man, I had stuff that made other people think I was somebody for a long time. I had velour suits. Everybody always, the people that know me make fun of me for this. There was a good year span where I just wore velour suits every day. I had like 10 velour suits. We had wear all 10, watch them, wear the 10, watch them, wear the 10. And if you think that's embarrassing, I had matching Timberlands and a matching Kango hat for every one of them. All right, it was awesome. I had really good friends. My car I drove around the most was a white Escalade, had spinners on it. Yeah, right. Had it all tinted out, had a bandana hanging on the thing. He's like pulling out pictures of his. He's like, you punk it. He's like, don't put me in the story, punk. Right. And he's like, don't talk bad about me. Right. But like I was the epitome of fake, but I made it look like I had it all together. Right. I was a man, dog. Right. I like the way that sounds. I think I heard it in a movie, maybe. All right. He's the man, dog. You're gonna hear me say that 44 times tonight. I'm sorry. All right. I'll try not to tomorrow. And anybody play golf in here? Fucking why? All right, no. But that's I ask myself every time I go play on the 3rd hole, why the fuck am I doing this? All right. It's like they're like, it's peaceful and nice. I'm like, 3 holes in, I want to kill everybody on earth. Right? Like I'm throwing clubs in the woods, in the water, breaking them on my knee. I'm like, you kicking the ball down the thing. I'm like, I don't care. There's a waste of everything. All right. And they're always like, want to go play? I'm like, not really, but I'll do it if you want. All right. Like if that means we get to hang out. When Bobby Jones talked about relationships, golf course is a great way to build some relationships or ruin them. Right. First 3 holes, I built the hell out of them. Last 15, destroyed a lot of them. All right. They get to see me. Right. All of me. But I'm in my yard hitting fake golf balls. Right. And just so you know, if you ever want to play golf, that doesn't help your golf game. They're fake. They're a little plastic. They go like 2 yards. They don't tell you anything. Right. But I'm out there like, all right. And a couple of us, Hudson, Alex, that's normally here. He was one of our best friends. And he calls me. He's like, I got in a fight with my wife. I was like, marriage, brother. Right? Like, go home. Good luck. Right? Like, fingers crossed. Be sweet. You know, and like, you're calling me. I'm a horrible person to call in this situation. All right. Like, I don't know if you know my relationships history, but phew. All right. My thing is don't do anything I suggest. All right. But I was like, just go home, dude. So hitting fake golf balls. The next morning comes, someone's pounding on my door. I remember Clint died when he heard this one, when it was like pounding on my door. And I said, I don't look like a guy that you would pound on my door really easy, right? Like, it's like, easy, bro. Don't pound on this. I might come out looking weird, right? You don't even know how I sleep. All right. Like, you might not want to see it. No. My mom's like, don't lie. No. Right. So we, I get to the door, and the door this time was like, it was like the round glass through the whole middle of it, and then like the little wood around the outside, so you could see. Because I'm a big person, I want to see people. I don't want a door where I can't see nobody. I'm like opening that door, I'm like, oh shit, right? Like I have no idea what's on the other side. Right, this door I get to see. Right, gives you some confidence and courage. All right, so and I see that friend's wife, and that was more intimidating than any man. So I was like, oh shit. Right? She's about to ask me questions and I don't know the answers and I don't want to say if I do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, where's Matt? Right? And she's like, that's what I'm coming here for. I'm like, well, I don't know where Matt is. I literally just woke up. All right. And she's like, well, he left me an alarming message and I haven't been able to find him this morning. I'm like, oh shit. We play sports all the time. So I'll just go look at the batting cages, right? Or something. Maybe he's just hitting some balls or playing basketball or something. I'll just go check it out. At one point in my life, I was considered somewhat athletic. Right. Those times have passed. Right. But now I get to talk about the glory days. And I do often. All right. But Justin tells me he's going to get me in shape. And that's why I hide from him when he's not around. All right. Yeah, I am in shape. It's round. All right. And I love me, damn it. No. Yeah. Do it little. By God, I'm good enough. Obviously, that's not why a lot to me. All right. I love me, some me. So, so I drove around to all the courts and stuff. We had an open gym that night. I drove around, didn't find him. Drove around to the batting cages, didn't see him. We used to go hang out at a couple of bars, went to those. We went to the boardwalk a lot in this area. Where we go tonight, it's going to be close to that. The beach, there's something. I don't like sand or salt water or water really, but there's something about the smell of beach air or the ocean that's beautiful. Right, so I stay on boardwalk because that's nice and wood, and then no, I'm not standing on some wood, and then I smell and I'm like, and hear, and I'm like, this is therapeutic. But if you put sand on me, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. All right, because sand sticks everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's not comfortable. So you're all lying if you're like, this is great. Let's lay on the beach. I'm like, that's fucking miserable. All right, so no, I'll stay over here. All right, so I went on the boardwalk and looked, and I didn't see him, and I was like, what the fuck? And I even made a post on Facebook. I was like, yo, if anyone sees Carter, he owes me $10. All right, like, or $20. Hit me up if you see him. All right, just hoping that someone saw him or something. I called my buddies out of town. Hudson lived out of town at that time, and a couple other of our guys. So I'm like, yo, I don't care. Give me some code word, right? Flick the lights, whatever you got to do so I can stop looking for this dude and just tell me he's with you. Nothing. 3 a.m. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a couple hours of sleep. We'll go back at it tomorrow. I have to work again. There was a window where I ran away from entrepreneurship. We still had businesses, but I took a couple of years to nurse my wounds and went back to prison. But this time it was to work. I used to get out every day too and go to a bar and be like, yeah, I just got out serving 8, but it was 8 hours. And everyone at the bar would leave because they thought I just got out serving 8 years. It was fantastic how I mentally tortured those people at the bar. It was a good joke if you ever spend a little time in jail or work there, right? Next day, the state troopers come to me and I'm like, oh, what's up? And they're like, we found Matt. I was like, oh, great news. And they're like, he's gone. And it's like, what? And it was the kind of guy that doesn't come back, right? The story makes sense now. And he drove about not even a mile from where I lived at that time, and he shot himself in the head in his car. And that was the moment where Michael Fabber broke, right? Because everything I was holding became too much for me. Right? I couldn't keep the image, the fakeness. I was like, man, what the hell am I? That's the question. That's a killer. What the hell am I? Because then you feel like you're struggling, right? Because you don't have an answer. You don't know. So you're like, what the hell am I doing? Who am I? What am I here for? How am I helping or serving? What am I doing for anybody? I was like, started with LOL. I was like, what? That's a weird time. Horrible applause moments, right? Oh, the laugh track at the inappropriate moments, right? It's the delay, guys. It's okay. And I'm not gonna bore you with the story after that, but I got into drugs, got into messing up a lot, didn't really care about life much. But when I came back from that moment, during that journey, I did this weird thing, and I like asked questions and spent a lot of time with myself. All right. And you kind of find what really makes your heart move a little bit. Right. And like people always ask me, like, how do you find purpose? And I'm like, try things. Right. But when you're trying things, ask yourself things. And here's the bigger part of it. Be honest with yourself. Right. Because I lied for a long time, man. That Escalade was great. Made me something. You got one? Right. Like when someone would say something on my car, I'm like, you got one? Why are you talking about it? Right. Like I was a real dick. And I was like, by saying that meant I was a dickhead. What I did was find purpose. Right. I found passion. Right. And it was because I tried things. I experienced things. I went, took action. Right. I started taking steps. And the only way you can create movement is by taking action, taking steps. That creates movement. Right. And I still didn't know what the hell I was going to do or how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to find a way. Right. And that's, remember I told you a story about where I used to take people's shopping carts back? That was the beginning of Unleash You Now. It was actually called CMF at the time. But I had no idea how I was going to help people. My mom is a psychologist, and she's like, Michael, go back to school for 8 years, and you can do exactly what I do. I'm like, Jesus, I'd rather go back to jail. Right. And I go to school at the same time. But no, you can get a degree. You're welcome. The service at its best. He did. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. And then they're like, you could be a life coach. And I was like, God, my clients would be so disappointed. I'm like, what am I going to do? Tell them everything not to do? Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Cocaine messes you up, bro. Right? Like, I don't think you need me. They have an after school special for that or a commercial at 3 to 5. You don't need me to tell you how bad that is for you. I'm sure they can tell you themselves. And now we have Google. Just do a Google search before you do something and say, what's the positive of this? If there's not any, don't do it. You know what I mean? Life coach Mike. All right. That's hashtag. All right. Yeah. Hashtag it up. And well, we started doing these things or didn't know what we were doing, started doing these things, trying these things. I was working with I think the first year, my mom laughs at me. I had like 410 sessions I did for people. And she was like, you did 410 sessions? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, why didn't you make much money? And I'm like, well, I did 390 of them for free. She's like, I don't know if you know business, but I think that's a horrible business model. I was like, I agree, right? So it was like, we have to find a way to do this, right? And also going that route, I would have to be alive for like 1,500,000 years old to do our goal, which is end suicide and selfish behavior. That's our goal. I would have to live for a long time to do that. I just want you to know I'm not the epitome of health, right? Like I'll smoke some cigars. I'm sure you saw me drink a little whiskey, right? Like I am not the guy that's going to get to 1,500,000 years old, right? That's for someone else, right? Like me. And then they're like, oh, dude, if you do groups and stuff, you can get to like 1,500 years old. I'm like, all right, back to what I was saying was the average life expectancy is this. I don't know if I'll get there. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely not getting 25 times it, right? So let's try to be realistic. And during it, they're like, well, you're good at business. How about you help people build businesses, but they're their purpose business, right? And I was like, dude, that sounds great. And the first 3 years were horrible doing it. Right? And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I know we're meant for this. Like, I know we can be good at this. Like, I know we actually care, right? But we're getting nowhere. Who here has ever felt like they were doing everything but getting nowhere, right? Like, if you're honest, you have. Whoever didn't raise your hand, you're a liar, right? I like doing like real human like lie detectors. I'm like, have you ever struggled with yourself? People are like, you're a fucking liar, all right? Like, this is really, thank you for identifying yourself. Now I know you're lying, all right? But it was crazy. There was one time I never thought I'd be doing this, right? Like, I'm the guy that wouldn't read in front of the class. I would rather get thrown out of the classroom than read in front of it. My mom can tell you how many times they had to pick me up from school because of that. All right. And I'd rather be the troublemaker than the dumb kid. All right. One is I get to pick, the other one you tried to pick for me. And was that a time thing? Oh, I thought you were like, I was like, dang, am I really? I felt like I had a lot. Now you're making me look for it. What? Oh, I was like, what? Jimmy it. Are you gonna give me a hint or just stare at me and touch your watch? Oh shit. Are you sitting? I'm sitting Gucci, man. God, I might sit here and just start talking about other things. I got time. I got, oh, thank you. God, you even lied to me, you liars, trying to make me think it was faster. So I was, all right. All right, thank you. So we did this, you got it? No? They kill it? No? Lame. Did you kill it? All right, good. There you go. Not lame. Perfect. That's even better. God, winning. That's true friends right there. Relationships built in the room, right? Or in the walk, from the other things. So I was at this event and they were like, Mike, I just need you to security run the door and just count like how many people come in with the clicker, right? A little clicker thing. And I'm like, oh, bet I could do that. Right. So it's my buddy's stuff. So I have my feet up on this thing, not paying attention at all. I'm literally just hitting this thing like every second. All right. There's more people on this thing than can exist in this building. I'm like, he's going to think this event was packed. Right. And he comes up to me and he's like, there's a problem. And I'm like, shit, he caught me already. All right. Like, he's like the guy I have that was coming to speak, he's not coming. I was like, damn, that is a problem, dude. And he's like, right, I need your help. I'm like, who do you want me to go find? He's like, you. I need you to go on the stage. I'm like, for what? He's like, to talk. I'm like, oh, hell no, bro. I'll sit here and do this all day. You know what I mean? This is fine. You don't even have to pay me now. I'd rather you keep the money and me not do that. And I'll just, this is actually getting fun. I have a beat. All right, like I'm making a fucking track over here. You can just go ahead. And he's like, dude, you coach basketball. I'm like, the fuck does that mean? Right? Like, you know what I say to the guys? Come on, right? Like, it's like, what do you want me to yell running on the stage and yell, come on to these guys a million times? I'll do it, right? Box out. Right? I don't think that's going to matter to them. They're going to be like, what? All right. So I was like, I don't know. This seems weird. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And he's like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about. I need you to stop arguing with me. I need you to do this. No, I'm not going to do it, right? Like, sorry, good try. And he's like, if you're a friend, you will. And I'm like, you're a dick, all right? I'm like, how long does it have to be? It's like 30 minutes. I'm like, 10. It's like 30. I'm like, you're not moving, so I'm not going to move. If you stay at 30, I'm staying at 10. We got to work together at this and come to 15 and we'll agree, right? Because you're going to come 5 minutes down. I'm going to come 1 minute up. You know what I mean? We're going to do this the way I want to do this. And ended up being like 15, but I think I talked longer. I actually went over, I think. No surprise. No way. What? Mind blown. What? And the Doritos didn't cause that mind blow. I did. All right, you're welcome. So I go up and talk, and I hate it. Right? Like, it's miserable. I get off that stage, and I'm like, you're paying me double. You're taking me out to eat. And I'm not talking about Applebee's, all right? Like, it's going to be something good. Nothing wrong with Applebee's in case there's Applebee lovers in here. So I saw some faces like, you're talking shit about my Applebee's? I'm like, no, man. Great food. All right. The salad bar, isn't that Ruby Tuesdays? Yeah, thank you. I was going to say, don't fuck with Ruby Tuesdays. What are you doing, man? That's a Delaware delicacy. All right. There's still one open. You know what I mean? It's Milford, if you ever want to go to it. If that's still open. All right. But I spoke and I did somewhat like Coach Mike and somewhat just Mike. And there was a mix between older people, parents, grandparents, kids in this room. And I'm talking to my friend. I'm literally like, just berating him about me having to do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You would have me do that? Dumbest person here. Everybody in there is insulted, right? Like, they're like, you put this reject on stage in front of me, right? Like, I'm being mean, right? Like, I'm being rude, right? And this kid taps me on the back. I'm like, what? Right? Like, because I don't know it's a kid. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. What's up, man? And he's like, dude, no one ever spoke to me like that. That let me know that was an option for me. And now I don't have to do what all my family did, was sell drugs and go to jail. You let me know there was another way that you can come back from all this. So thank you, man. You changed my life. And I turned around to the guy that made me do it, and I was like, I guess I got to do this more, huh? He's like, I guess so, right? But you know what happened was, that wasn't about me. What I did was I opened up. I let them know that I experienced pain. I let them know I made mistakes. I let them know I failed, and that you can come back, that you can make good, right? Like, one of the biggest things is we're so quick to tell people about their mistakes, but not what they do after them. Right? I had a wise man, somewhat kind of, call me like a year and a half ago, and he's like, yeah, you fucked up. And he's like, but what do you do now is going to show who you are. Because we're all going to make mistakes. But what you do now is going to show me who you are. And I can't wait to see it. All right. And in that space, I was like, bet. Right? Like, you gave me an opportunity. And, you know, hustlers, all we ever wanted was an opportunity. If you give us one, we'll take it. All right. Like, if you let me open that door, I'm getting in it. All right. So it was like that. And what that did was change my thinking from focusing on the mistake, focusing on the problem, focusing on the issue, and working on the solution. Where in your life right now are you focused on the problem and on the solution? Right? Like, you don't understand. Putting this together was crazy. Right? And every time we hit something, we're like, that's the problem. Bet. How can we fix it? What can we do? Oh, we have to go through the ceiling? Sweet. Go through the ceiling. All right. Like, they're like, my mom's now looking at everything. All right. Like, where do they go through it? I'm like, not the roof, the ceiling. All right. It's okay. We'll fix it. All right. But it was like, whatever we got to do, the solution, right? If you stay on the problem, that's all you'll see. That's all you'll be. For years of my life, I was the problem. Right. And then I learned everything in my life, I was the problem. Everything in my life, I was the problem. And that means I am the solution. Right? When you take control of that, you take ownership of it. And one of the biggest things that changed in our business, one of the biggest things that changed in us speaking, one of the biggest things that changed in our movement that we created, that we could be here doing this, right now, after the struggles we had at the beginning, was that everything that happens, I'm like, all right, us, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this better? We had calls, the last 3 calls we had as a team, it was, how are we going to make this event different than any event like this? How are we going to do this differently? How are we going to do this better? Not for us, for our people. Right? And there were some things that were weird. I was like, bro, I'm going to make them a playlist. And they're like, yeah, I bet they'll love it. I'm like, they will. I'm going to send it in the group, and it'll be a Spotify link, and they'll just go to this playlist of pipe songs. And they're like, yeah, that'll be a hit, man. Anyway, let's talk about other things. All right? Like, make sure there's water on every seat. So, thank you. I'll send it to you. I have it. Two people. Good job. Thanks. Real powerful. Oh, there we go. Hey, yeah. Take that, Bobby Jones. Right now. Take that, hater, on my playlist idea. Right? Who? Oh, nice. There we go. Playlist. Yeah. I only do it if Allegra uses it for Zumba. No. She gave the weakest thumbs up there too. She was like, yeah, man. I don't really want to do that, but sure. All right. Thanks for the team. Thanks for the teamwork. All right. But it was like, how can we make this better for the people that are here? How can we continue to make this better? How can we make this better when you leave? Right? Like, how can we make every aspect of this better, minus an agenda? All right. And because I want you to be like, it's 7:01, Michael. Like, oh shit, my bad. Right? Like, I didn't control Lori. No, I'm kidding. 17 hours yesterday. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Now all I know is she can't ever say anything about me being late. That's what I always say about anyone else that ever says if they go longer, don't ever say anything about me going longer. All right. I got in trouble at that at one event, but it was fine. But it worked out. It always works out. Right. But what happened was we were willing to let people see us, who we are, the clean parts, the dirty parts, and the shitty parts. We're letting people see us because if we're honest, we have them. I'm not 100 all the time. I'm not always on my game. I'm not that guy, and I try not to pretend to be. I used to. I don't now. I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. I know barely anything. All right? I know a lot of cool people. They know a lot of stuff. I ask them. All right? Typically, they're like, hey, Mike, what about this website? I'm like, hey, I'm going to ask Javi. Javi, what about this website? Javi sends it back to me. I'm like, hey, this is what Javi said. Right? And I can connect you with Javi if you want. Javi hates that part. Right? 18 hours later, he figures out a solution and calls me and lets me know how he felt about it. right? And the same thing, leadership. I'm like, bet. Workout stuff. I'm like, bet, right? Like, because I don't know, right? I know how not to work out. I've mastered it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even do a push-up. I do 3 push-ups. I look swole, right? Like I do 3 push-ups. I'm like Clint's twin, right? I'm kidding. Everybody knew that was a joke, right? What are you saying? Who are you saying, about me or him? No, I'm kidding. Better be about him. No. What do you need to open up about? What do you need to show so that people understand that you get it? Right? Being understood by someone is priceless. Right? Being understood by someone is priceless. That makes you feel like you're real to them. Right? Like that you're a person. Right? What I love about Unleash You Now is people rarely, if I've never heard someone say, it feels like it was just some kind of client exchange for currency. Right? We're never in exchange for currency. Right? If I'm ever that, I'm out. That'll be the last day I do it. If you ever see me doing that, I'm in dire need of cash and I'm out after it, just so you know. All right, it's my out plan. All right, I tell people I'm honest. If you see me doing some crazy ass weird liquidation, buy this, get this, I'm hurting. All right, and I'm about to be out. I'm making a big play for something, and that's going to be the move. All right, ask me what the big play is. You can get involved in that. That's probably the come up. Anyway, all right, but that's how we are. It's never going to be about client acquisition. I want to know about you. I want to know your heart. I want to know what kind of person you are. I want to know what you believe in. I want to know who you're actually here to help. I want to know who you care about. Right? Because no offense, if you're just here to get clients, you're at the wrong place. All right? If you're just here to get clients, you're at the wrong place. Because if you're just here to get clients, you never will. All right? You'll lose them quick. All right? There's a thing like, there's people, Dr. Rob years, Javier years, Amber way too long. I don't know why Amber still messes with us. All right? Dave Cheminsky put me on hold for years. Right? Justin's been around a while. Right? Like there's people here that come to our events that have been coming for years. Years. We don't have clients. Right? We have family. Right? We don't look at it like, oh man, we got to perform for our clients. Like we're not a circus and they're not the acts. Right? Like we got to connect with you and we're going to build together. And if you suffer, we suffer together. And if you win, we win together. And what's better? But we can't do that if you can't connect. If you're not willing to open up, not willing to show yourself. Because if I make you believe or think I'm perfect, I know we won't last long. Right? And that's one of the big things with now when I talk to people, I'm like, I just want you to know how fucked up I am. All right. And some people are like, oh shit. Right? And I'm like, bet, good. We wouldn't make it long. Right? And I'm like, I want to know, I'm not going to tell you all my, everybody always wants to like brag about their strengths. I'm like, no, fuck that. I want to let you know all my weaknesses. I'm fucked up. The best ways. I made Lee smile. I feel accomplished, right? But I want you to think, what do your clients need to know about you so they know they can trust you? So they know they can believe in you? That they know you're really for them and that you're about them, that you'll be there for them. When shit goes to shit, I feel there's a better way. When shit goes to shit, right? It's a double shit, right? Like, yeah, I heard once that happened, they can order that at Burger King. No, Burger King, that's fighting words. No, if I ever get taken out, it was Burger King or Tony Robbins, right? The only 2 people that could do it, right? But it's what do you need to do? What do you need to be open about? What do you need to be real about for your clients to see you, for your relationships to be able to be closer? See, what happens is we often do this, and I did this. I would shave pieces of me so I could fit in the hole that you wanted in your life. But then you could never see me as my whole. So I would feel like the relationship was never 100 because I never brought myself in for you to see, for you to accept, for you to love, for you to reject, or whatever the hell you were going to do with it. What are you shaving off for them not to see? How can you make these things better? How can you make your marriage better? I always said, if you're focused on how to make something better, it doesn't get worse normally because the focus is on better, right? Like a lot of people talked about the 1%, right? The 1% better. Jeremy, I could tell the way you looked at me. I was like, definitely he was one, right? He was like, right? I was like, damn, I'm about to tag this motherfucker in. He's tight, right? He's like, the 1%. If you're always focused on getting 1% better, it's hard to get worse because we're focused on improvement, right? Justin goes to the gym every morning, 3:30. Weird, right? Don't understand it. All right, he's in there before Justin. Justin was like, I was in there at 5:30. I'm like, I can't one up you, but I know someone that does one up you, right? And Justin was in there at 3:30. Right? I don't even know if you were, but I was going on the you do it 7 days a week shit, right? But this wasn't what he looked like his whole life. He wasn't just jacked out of his mind his whole life, right? Right, exactly. Thank God, right? You're gonna be like, no, I was. I'm like, all right, right? Like, there's always one, right? Like, right? Clint didn't come out of his mama with thighs like that. Facts. Facts. Hey, facts. And I met his mom. She's an amazing woman. All right. He didn't come out with diets like that. He worked for those. All right. He's got that damn thing at home doing this all night long. Doing his biblical work, doing the thigh master. Tell me I didn't watch infomercials. All right. I had one of those pink and blue thigh masters. I had one. All right. He mastered that thing. They renamed it. It's after him. It's called the Clint Master, right? It helps your thighs and your eyes, right? But, or it doesn't do anything for your eyes, but definitely your thighs, right? But they worked at it. Like you got what you got because you worked at something. You worked at it, right? That's not it though. You're not done. Your play's not finished. You know, when we were doing the, right? That was literally my favorite part. I was freaking out in the back. I was so happy I was all the way behind everybody because no one could see me. And I was like, and he was like, be angry with it. I was like, I can do that. Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is the one part I'm going to do well. Right. And but your symphony ain't over. You're still composing. Right? You're still creating. There's so much more for you to do. But if we're not willing to see it, and if we're not willing to let other people see it, then it can never hit. And I always tell everyone in the mastermind, you guys are going to know this. We don't control the hits, but we do control the singles. And you put out singles, and at some point, the people get to pick the hit. The hits aren't about you. If you want to pick your hits, you're wrong. It's crazy. Some videos I made, I'm like, this is the fucking best video I ever made. People are going to love this video. This is going to be the video I'm known for forever. I put the video out, it's like 7 people see it. No likes, right? Facebook bans it because they're like, this is so shitty. People left our site because you put it on it. All right. I can't get no love. I'm like, damn, I wear a dress one day. We got like 5 million views. I'm like, what the? All right. They're like, you look good in a dress. I'm like, no one believes that shit. Right. Like, I don't look good in a dress. They're like, come on, wear it again. I'm like, one more time. We did it. It was like a couple million views. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing the dress thing. We actually have to do the dress thing one more time. It's for beach volleyball. I'm really trying to put it off. That's why it's like 2 years later. And I hope at some point everybody loses the dress and we can not do it. All right. But it's like, we don't get to pick the hits. I never would have picked that to be my hit. Right? Look at me. I have a beard, right? And it goes down my entire body, right? I don't look good in a dress, right? Everybody's like, whoa, right? Kevin O'Leary took her glasses off. She's like, no, right? Not today, Judas, right? The biblical reference, I like that. But, all right, sorry. So the idea, what I want you to think, what I want you to be honest with yourself is, where are you hiding still? There's a reason why I say that to Becca all the time. She's still hiding. I say it to Lee too. Lee doesn't like that. He hides. Sometimes you hide behind brilliance. All right, that's a defense mechanism. Or are we not willing to be seen? I promise you, if you are willing to be seen, 2 things are going to happen. Someone's going to recognize the beauty in which you let them yourself be seen in, and you're going to encourage them to be seen more. All right, and then you take that scary step out, like write a book. Then you take that scary step out and go on a YouTube show. Then you get take that scary step out and get into AP. Right? Then you take that scary step out and you're on all these stages. And then you're all of a sudden Martha. All right? And she's in the room. All right? And that's in 3 months. Right? All because she's willing to be seen. All right? So today I challenge you. Be willing to be seen for you, your heart, your love, what you care about. Don't do it in a way that's like, well, yeah, I want to be seen. F these people. Like, okay, thank you. All right, there's a time and place for that too. But this one is all about your heart. What do you love? What are you about? What do you stand for? I would say, like, there's not a lot of things I'll fight for. I'll let you know the ones I am. Right? Because there's a couple I still will stand for. Right? What are you willing to stand for? What are you willing to be seen as? How are you willing to inspire others to be seen? When you're willing to do this, you will be seen. And it will be beautiful. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you all. And Let's get it.